Welcome to Rad Builds, everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build a very requested prop, and those are the swords from Attack on Titan. Now, I myself have never watched Attack on Titan, but I did my best to build these swords based off of photos and videos I found online. And now, let's get to the build.
For this build, you're going to need 10mm foam, 2mm foam, a wooden dowel, 4mm foam, some paracord, an X-acto knife, a ruler, a pencil, some scissors, a hole puncher, a hot glue gun, some super glue, Scotch tape, weldwood contact cement, a paintbrush, black paint, black plasti-dip paint, silver spray paint, some painter's tape, and some paper. You will also need this triangular foam dowel. I purchased mine from Michael's, and of course the pattern linked in the description. First, I went ahead and taped the pattern together using some Scotch tape. Now cut out each piece from the foam thickness listed on the pattern. Some pieces you may need to cut out more than once, and this is also labeled on the pattern. To start, we're going to be gluing this wooden dowel inside of the hole I cut out of piece number 1. Then I use some hot glue to secure it in place. After that, I'm going to be using weldwood contact cement to glue piece 1 and 2 together. Now the way weldwood contact cement works is you paint both sides of what you want to glue together, and then once they're dry, you can carefully put them together. Now you can see I'm using some paper to separate the two before they're ready to be glued together. This makes it easier to avoid gluing them together incorrectly. You can go ahead and repeat this process on the other side. Then I went ahead and used weldwood contact cement again to glue the triangular dowel to the sword. Then I used a knife to cut off the edge to make it flush with the rest of the sword. At this point, we won't be needing the weldwood contact cement anymore, so you can set it aside. Now I used an X-acto knife to score the foam. Now all the places you will need to score are marked on the pattern except for this spot right here. And this is because these cuts are only on one side of the sword. Now I'm using a hole puncher to cut into the foam right here. Now this hole puncher actually isn't necessary because you can do the same thing with an X-acto knife. And also do this on the other side. Now I use an X-acto knife and a ruler to make the angled cuts all the way down the blade, and I repeated this process on the other side. Piece number 3 gets glued on the top of the handle. And this process is repeated on the other side. Both of the piece number 4s are glued right next to the cuts made earlier. And then piece number 5 gets wrapped around both piece number 3s. Piece number 6 gets then glued on top of piece number 5 and then bent down a little bit. The other piece number 6 is glued exactly the same on the other side. Now I'm going to be punching a hole into piece number 7, and this is because I'm making the full ODM gear, and to make it easier for later steps. But if you're not making the full ODM gear and you're just making the swords, then you do not have to do this step. And this piece gets super glued onto the end of the hilt. Now this is piece number 8, and you'll notice I cut the edges at an angle, and this is because I want the sword to fit nicer in my hand later on. It will get glued in right here, but I'm not going to glue it on until after I'm done spray painting. Piece number 9 gets glued on right here, and then piece number 10 gets glued on the edge. Another piece number 9 is glued on the other side, and then you can glue on piece number 11 around piece numbers 9 and 10. Now I'm going to be gluing about 2 inches of paracord to piece number 12. And now I'm gluing piece number 12 onto the handle. The other end of the paracord is glued on right here next to pieces 9, 10, and 11. Now one thing I forgot to mention that you will need is a heat gun, and the reason is a heat gun seals the foam, which makes the foam look much better when painted, and it opens up any of the cuts you made from earlier. After that, I use some black plasti-dip spray paint to prime both the handle pieces and the entire sword. And then after that, I use some silver spray paint to spray paint just the sword. Finally, you can use some super glue to glue the handle pieces onto the sword. Now I'm going to be mixing black paint and water to make some black wash. And then I use a paintbrush to black wash the entire handle of the sword. Once this is done, I used a paper towel to remove most of the black wash. And the reason we are black washing is to give the sword a beaten up and used look. I did black wash the blade as well, but I only did so in the cuts we made earlier. And this is because I want the blade to look newer and shinier than the handle. Once you are finished black washing, the sword is complete. If you decide to make this prop using this video, you can tag me on Instagram or Twitter at bradbuilds3000.
Thank you everyone so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my new videos. Now these swords are only part 1 of 4 videos I'm going to be making over the full ODM gear. So make sure to keep a lookout for part 2, and of course you'll be able to find that video on this channel, Brad Builds.